What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to look at the tape of Olu Fashanu, who looked really good in his NFL debut. Very excited for this film breakdown. Let's just jump right into the tape. And we're going to go ahead and start right away talking about his pass pro. One of the things Fashanu is known for is his ability to anchor down and just have phenomenal technique. Fashanu, in my opinion, was one of the best pass blockers from this past season. And coming out of draft, Fashanu to me was one of the best pass blockers coming out of college. And you definitely see some of the upside, and you definitely see some of the technique. You definitely see the traits. The guy looks good. The way the guy makes contact, the way the guy's able to hold on to guys, the grip strength, the movement, the mirroring ability, all of it has absolutely translated from college to at least his first game here. The guy did a really good job. You see the snap here where he's able to make contact with the defensive end. The timing of it's perfect. Left hand lands to the inside. But you really see that latch right there with that left arm. You can see the defensive end's trying to break the contact. The defensive end with his right hand is trying to remove the latch that Fashanu has, and it is not something the guy's able to break. That's a really good rep right there by Fashanu. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. You got another solid rep once again by Fashanu. He's going to end up making contact with the defensive end, and watch him just straight up anchor down. A really good rep once again. Timing, hands, everything is absolutely perfect. Now, I do think Fashanu is really strong. He has a really good foundation, but he does need to continue to add weight. I think that's going to be the one thing he'll have to develop as he goes from year 1 to year 2. He'll have to really put that effort in and really get into it, the weight room. And don't think that I'm saying he's not strong. He's a very strong football player. But I want him to add more mass. And I think going from this year to next year, he will definitely do that. But the guy still has great technique, and that does allow him to essentially anchor down, as you guys see on that snap right there. Now, one of the things that I feel like makes Olu Fashanu such a great pass blocker in today's NFL is the guy has really good technique. And what I mean when I say he has great technique is the way he moves, the way he makes contact with guys, and when guys try to break that contact, how he recovers is what's special with Fashanu. So here's a good example of that. So Fashanu does get the chip help on this one. The tight end is going to chip. But watch Fashanu make contact. When that left hand locks in, watch the defensive end break the contact right there. The DN with the right hand is going to remove the leverage. And then look at the left hand come right back around. And it quickly makes contact once again with the defensive end. And the defensive end the second time is not able to break it. So as Fashanu's hand is getting chopped down and as he's bringing it around, that's great. But then you also got the footwork to go with it. You see him, he's going to continuously move the feet. Even though the hands get chopped, the feet don't get off balance. He doesn't lean forward. He doesn't fall forward. The base is perfect. The footwork is perfect. The hands is perfect. And to me, that's why Fashanu was my #1 tackle coming out. This guy has great technique. He has great movement. Another thing Fashanu does a really good job at is to bait guys. So on this one here, he's going to bait the defensive end utilizing a ghost move. The great tackles do this. Tyron Smith does this all the time. And I almost think Fashanu may have picked something up in practice from him. But essentially what he's doing is he's going to bait this defensive lineman by throwing the left hand. Now, by throwing the left hand, the defensive end's going to react, right? It's just the thing that happens in your brain when someone throws a punch towards you. So he's going to want to chop that hand down. So the defensive end chops. You see it. He just misses, essentially, right? So again, great job baiting by Fashanu right there. The defensive end's going to miss it. Then the right hand's going to come land on the shoulder pad. At this point, Fashanu's in a perfect spot because he has the right hand on the back. The defensive end is trying to essentially speed rush as well. The leverage, everything about it is perfect. But I absolutely love the little things that this guy does. And it's translating for sure, right? And one of the things he did a really good job at in college was as he would make contact with guys, he'd anchor down really well. When guys would just straight come at him with the bull rush, you just saw him anchor. He had the power in his lower body to be able to anchor down. And you see he does that on this play as well. The defense man gets right into the chest. He's going to try to bull rush Fashanu. Look at Fashanu drop the anchor right there. So it's a really good job to be able to handle it. Now he does get the double team help from the guard here. But I'm pretty sure Fashanu would have shut this down anyways. He does a really good job being able to anchor. He bends that back. He drops the anchor. And he's able to handle power pretty well. And I'm excited to watch this guy as we go into this season. I don't think he's going to actually end up starting, but we'll see what ends up happening. You never know if he maybe jumps into the guard position. Now, I do want to go ahead and switch focus, and I want to talk a little bit about Fashanu's run blocking, because in my opinion, this guy's a phenomenal run blocker as well. In college, he showed a lot of flashes in so many different elements: inside zone, outside zone, pin pulls where he was the guy leading. As you see on this one, right, it's a pin pull concept. He's going to essentially get out in front And he does a great job because he's fast, he's quick, he's explosive. He did a really, really good job in college handling the double team and climbing to the linebackers. But sometimes he struggled at the point of attack. But in this very first game, I didn't really see that. I felt like at the point of attack, Fashanu did a really, really nice job.
Now, before we move forward, I want to just take a second to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this channel. That is Underdog Sports. And if you're not signed up with Underdog yet, what are you waiting for?
Underdog is the best fantasy football platform out there, and their pick'em game allows you to win some extra cash.
For me personally, I'm always thinking about matchups when it comes to Underdog.
It could be something like the Cowboys quarterback's going to throw for over 20 passes. The Patriots are going to end up having at least one interception. Or maybe it's a Bears wide receiver is going to go for over 75 yards. Essentially, you make 3 picks if you get all of them correct. And depending on the multiplier, you can turn $5 or $10 into $100 or $400. A lot of my videos are demonetized, so I would appreciate it if you guys can support Underdog for supporting this channel and allowing us to continue to do film content on this channel.
There's a link down in the comments below, so make sure you guys check that out and support this channel. And let's just get right back into this video.
I felt like at the point of attack, Fashanu did a really, really nice job. I felt like he did a really good job sealing guys outwards and really using, the angles that I would want to see from an offensive lineman, especially a rookie guy. So on this play here, it's a great example. So it's an inside zone run. And essentially what he's going to do is he's going to take this defensive lineman and he's going to not only block him out, but he's going to turn him outwards. And he's going to flip his butt towards the inside. And yeah, there's a guy standing right here. I think one of these two guys should have technically released. They might be being held by that defensive lineman. But the quarterback keeps the ball anyway, so it doesn't matter. But had one of those guys released, based off of Fashanu's block, that's a really, really good job. And you can start to see that this guy understands angles when it comes to blocking. This guy understands where he needs to position his body. You got another really, really nice play where he's going to once again position his body properly to the inside of the 3 technique. And it literally doesn't get better than this. Now the center, I believe it's the center, ends up not making his block. But it's not on Fashanu, right, to make everybody else's block. All he can do is make his own block. And to be able to get in front of the 3 technique the way he does. The leverage on this one, you just see how low he is as he gets out of his stance, as he makes contact. He ends up flipping the hips. This is perfect. If these guys all hold their blocks, I'm not sure who 60 is supposed to climb up to. But essentially, if everybody holds their block based off of where Fashanu ends up being, the running back should have a lane right through that gap. So that's a really, really good job by Fashanu. Again, it's understanding angles, it's understanding body positioning, understanding where to essentially, aim your butt, right? Because you want the running back to be able to see that. Even on this play here, now this play was actually credited as a negative play to Fashanu, but I'm not sure if Fashanu wasn't expecting his running back to run to the outside on this one. Fashanu's gonna, to me at least, almost it seems like he's trying to reach the defensive end and the running back cuts it to the inside. It almost feels like Fashanu is trying to get this guy to be sealed to the inside and have this running back actually bounce it to the outside. So if you guys keep an eye on Fashanu, look at the legs and look at how he's kind of rotating towards the left. And it almost seems like he wants the running back to go to the outside. But the running back does cut this to the inside, and Fashanu's guy actually ends up making the play. Now again, this one counts as a negative on Fashanu, but I don't know if I would say it's a negative play because you got another play just a little bit later on where Fashanu essentially does the same exact thing. This time is not as of an efficient out block. Honestly, he kind of fights it, but the running back does bounce this one to the outside, and the running back does pick up 24 yards on this one. Now, I'm not sure if Fashanu was trying to actually flip the hips or not, but it does look like he was doing some sort of out block, and the defenseman wanted to get to the inside, and then he kind of starts to flip the legs towards the left a little bit right there. And with that, you see the running back just kind of bounces it to the outside. And this one picks up 24 yards. So again, understanding blocking angles. I think Fashanu does a really good job at that. Now, he also does a really nice job with double teaming and climbing, or just processing and climbing, just depending on the play. This one, he gets physical with this linebacker. But he does a really good job being able to get up there, right? He does a good job helping that guard as well. Look at the right hand, land on the 3 technique. He passes it off to the left guard. The left guard's not able to actually reach it, so the running back just cuts it right underneath. But then you see Fashanu do a good job after he helps the guard, climbs up to the linebacker, makes contact with the linebacker. He does a pretty good job holding the block on this one. But on this next play, he does a really, really good job being able to process this wide zone run. And the running back does fall, so he ends up losing 2 yards on the play. But the gap was there, right? You can definitely see the lane ultimately developing. So this looks to me like it's some sort of outside toss zone run based off the offensive lineman and how they block this. The left guard here is going to do a good job reaching the 2-eye technique. You see he's going to ultimately seal this guy off. And then essentially the left tackle, tight end have to just block these two guys. Now the thing to note is there's essentially 3 gaps. When this guy cuts off the defensive tackle, the running back can now hit this through any one of these 3 gaps. And it is up to Fashanu as well as the tight end to essentially either push this guy outwards with Fashanu then releasing and coming back to the inside, which is what ends up happening, or for Fashanu to climb up to this guy and then the tight end eventually releases up to the inside linebacker. So one of those 2 things is essentially going to happen. Now those 2 guys have to process it. So the defensive end on this one, it looks like he kind of tries to set the edge and stand himself up. The linebacker also starts to come downhill. So Fashanu does a good job making sure that the tight end has the block made on that defensive end. He's going to get the left hand out there just to make sure the block happens. Then he's going to turn to that linebacker. He's going to make contact with this linebacker. To me, you see the gap. I mean, you don't get a bigger lane than that right there. And the running back sees it as well, but he ends up just slipping. But again, Fashanu does a really good job double teaming and climbing. He does a really good job with movement and the angles that he has to take within the run block. I honestly think Fashanu looks a lot better run blocking than he looked at Penn State. And maybe that was because at Penn State, he didn't have great offensive linemen with him. Maybe the tight ends weren't that good at run blocking or whatever it may have been. He didn't look as good as a run blocker at Penn State. But watching his NFL debut, the guy did a really, really good job making contact with people and just staying attached to them, driving them out of there and just being physical. And it was something that I really, really liked. And I'm excited to see what this guy develops into. Again, I don't know if he's going to end up starting, but based off of what I see, the guy's going to be a good football player. And the fact that he gets to learn from one of the greatest tackles of all time in Tyron Smith, I'm excited for where Fashanu will be in a couple of years. He was my #1 rated tackle, if you guys don't know. I had him ranked higher than Joe Alt. To me, the way this guy plays, it's just different, right? You see so many good things on tape. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. We will be covering Fashanu this season as well as some of the Jets offensive and defensive linemen. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.